Welcome, listener, to Audiobook Summary. Educate yourself every day and stay ahead of 99% people. Introduction: The power of lifelong learning. Imagine two people starting at the same point in life. Same school, same degree, same job. They're both ambitious, talented, and full of potential. At first, they seem equal, but over time, something remarkable happens. One soars to unimaginable heights, breaking financial barriers, mastering new skills, and seizing every opportunity. The other? They stagnate, stuck in the same role, fighting the same battles, wondering why they're falling behind despite working just as hard. What's the difference? It's not talent, luck, or privilege. It's this: one never stopped learning, while the other did. Welcome to Educate Yourself Every Day and Stay Ahead of 99% people. That unveils the hidden formula used by the top 1% to dominate their fields and lives. This isn't about fleeting motivation or quick fixes. It's a blueprint for lifelong success through relentless learning, discipline, and action. Over the next hour, we'll dive deep into the 14 chapters that reveal why the world rewards those who commit to daily growth and punishes those who coast. Whether you're feeling stuck, chasing big dreams, or simply want to stay ahead, this summary will equip you with practical strategies to become unstoppable. Let's begin. Chapter 1: The Mindset of Lifelong Learning. The story starts with a wake-up call. The moment you stop learning, you start losing. Chapter 1: The Mindset of Lifelong Learning sets the tone for the entire book. It's not about cramming for a test or earning a degree. It's about embracing education as a way of life. The world doesn't stand still. Industries evolve, technologies emerge, and skills that were cutting edge a decade ago can become obsolete overnight. The top 1%, the Elon Musks, the Oprah Winfreys, the Warren Buffetts, know this. They don't just work hard. They learn relentlessly, adapting to whatever the future throws their way. The chapter introduces a pivotal concept: the growth mindset, drawn from psychologist Carol Dweck's research. People with a fixed mindset believe their abilities are set in stone. "I'm just not a math person," they say, or "I'm not creative." They avoid challenges, fear failure, and stay stuck. But those with a growth mindset see every obstacle as a chance to improve. They add, yet, to their doubts, "I'm not good at this yet," and treat failure as feedback, not a verdict. This shift is everything. It's what turns average into extraordinary. Curiosity is another cornerstone. The most successful people never stop asking questions. They're like kids, always wondering why or what if. Society might tell you to stop questioning, to stay in your lane, but the 1% ignore that. They dig deeper, explore new ideas, and challenge the status quo. And they don't let fear of failure hold them back. Failure isn't the enemy, it's a teacher. Every stumble is a lesson, every mistake a step toward mastery. Self-discipline ties it all together. While most wait for motivation to strike, lifelong learners make growth non-negotiable. They read 10 pages a day, study 20 minutes, or practice a skill, no matter how they feel. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful. This mindset, growth-oriented, curious, fearless, disciplined, is what separates those who thrive from those who stagnate. Real-world example: Sarah's career pivot. Let's meet Sarah, a 32-year-old marketing assistant who felt trapped in a dead-end job. She'd graduated with a communications degree, but a decade later, her role was repetitive: writing ad copy, managing social media, nothing groundbreaking. Her colleagues were content, coasting on what they'd learned in college, but Sarah felt restless. She wanted more, maybe a leadership role, maybe a new field, but doubted herself. "I'm not tech-savvy," she'd think. "I'm too old to start over." Then Sarah stumbled across a podcast about lifelong learning. It mentioned the growth mindset, and something clicked. She started saying, "I'm not tech-savvy yet." Instead of shying away, she leaned into her curiosity. Why was digital marketing shifting to data analytics? What if she could learn coding basics? She enrolled in a free online course, committing to 20 minutes daily after work. At first, she struggled. Python syntax felt like a foreign language. But she embraced failure as feedback, tweaking her approach with each error. Discipline kept her going. Even on exhausting days, she'd watch one tutorial video. 6 months later, Sarah built a simple dashboard to track ad performance, impressing her boss. Her curiosity led her to ask questions in meetings. How could data improve campaigns? And soon, She was leading a project. Within a year, she landed a promotion to data strategist, a role she'd once thought impossible. Sarah's not a genius. She just chose to learn daily, question everything, and push past fear. That's the mindset in action. Another example, Jamal's fitness journey. Now consider Jamal, a 40-year-old father of two. He'd always been active, but after years of desk work, he'd gained weight and lost confidence. "I'm not athletic anymore," he'd tell himself, a fixed mindset trapping him. One day, his daughter invited him to a charity 5K. Embarrassed but inspired, Jamal decided to try. He adopted a growth mindset, saying, "I can't run far yet." Curiosity drove him to research training plans. Why did intervals work? What if he stretched daily? He started small, jogging 10 minutes a day, often failing to keep pace. But he saw each slow run as progress, not defeat. Discipline was key. Rain or shine, he laced up his sneakers. Over months, he ran longer, lost weight, and felt stronger. By the 5K, he finished, not first, but proud. Jamal's story shows how learning about your body, embracing setbacks, and staying consistent can transform more than fitness. It can rebuild confidence. Chapter 2. The Power of Reading and Books. If Chapter 1 lights the fire for lifelong learning, Chapter 2 hands you the fuel, books. Reading isn't a pastime, it's a superpower. The most successful people, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, read voraciously, not for entertainment, but for growth. Books let you tap into the greatest minds in history, from philosophers to CEOs, without spending a fortune or leaving home. Chapter 2, The Power of Reading and Books, shows you how to harness this tool to stay ahead. The key is reading with intention. Nonfiction books, like The Lean Startup or How to Win Friends and Influence People, deliver actionable strategies for business, relationships, or personal growth. Fiction, meanwhile, sharpens your imagination and empathy, letting you live other lives through stories. The chapter advises balancing both, nonfiction for skills, fiction for perspective, to become well-rounded. Time's tight. You don't need hours. The chapter suggests starting with 10 minutes daily, building a habit that compounds. Speed reading techniques, like skimming or chunking text, help you cover more ground, but retention matters more. Highlight key points, jot notes, or explain ideas to a friend to make them stick. Enjoyment is crucial. Pick books that spark your interest, whether it's coding or classic novels. Track your progress, maybe a reading log, and celebrate milestones, like finishing your first book of the year. Reading isn't just learning, it's investing in yourself. The chapter promises that a daily reading habit will set you apart from 99% of people who rely on outdated knowledge or endless scrolling. It's not about reading more, it's about reading smarter. Real-world example, Maria's business breakthrough. Meet Maria, a 28-year-old barista with a dream of owning a cafe. She loved her job but felt stuck. Her savings were meager, and she knew nothing about entrepreneurship. "I'm not a business person," she'd say. One slow shift, a customer left behind a copy of the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Curious, Maria started reading. Chapter 2's lessons came alive. Maria committed to 15 minutes daily, reading about systems and customer service. Nonfiction gave her tools. She learned to create a menu that maximized profit. But fiction, like The Alchemist, inspired her to chase her dream fearlessly. She highlighted ideas, like standardizing recipes, and shared them with coworkers to cement her understanding. Discipline kept her reading even after long shifts. Soon, Maria applied her knowledge. She tested a loyalty program at her current job, boosting sales. She saved every tip, inspired by books on finance like Rich Dad Poor Dad. Within 2 years, she opened a small coffee cart, using systems from her reading to streamline operations. Today, her cafe thrives, not because Maria was born special, but because she read intentionally, balanced practical and inspirational books, and acted on what she learned. Another example, Liam's leadership leap. Then there's Liam, a 35-year-old middle manager at a tech firm. He was good at his job, but struggled to inspire his team. Feedback was blunt. He lacked emotional intelligence. Feeling defeated, Liam picked up Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman, recommended by a mentor. Chapter 2 guided him. Liam started with 10 minutes nightly, diving into nonfiction for skills. Goleman's book taught him empathy, listening without judging. He balanced it with fiction, like To Kill a Mockingbird, which deepened his understanding of perspectives. He used speed reading to skim data-heavy sections, but slowed down to note key ideas, like recognizing emotions in body language. Reading became a ritual, replacing late-night Netflix. At work, Liam applied his insights. He listened actively in meetings, noticing when team members seemed stressed and offered support. His fiction reading helped him relate to diverse personalities. Within months, his team's morale soared, and Liam earned a promotion to senior manager. His success wasn't magic. It was the habit of reading, blending practical and emotional learning, and acting consistently. Chapter 3. The Power of Consistency and Small Daily Habits. Chapter 3 hits you with a truth that's both humbling and empowering. Success isn't about grand, heroic efforts. It's about small, consistent actions that compound over time. Forget the myth of overnight success. Those viral entrepreneurs, championship athletes, or chart-topping artists. Their sudden wins were years of quiet, daily work in the making. The chapter introduces the compound effect. Tiny habits, repeated relentlessly, create exponential results. Read 10 pages a day, and in a year, you've devoured 3,600 pages, several books worth of wisdom. Do 10 push-ups daily, and you're fitter than most. It's not about intensity, it's about persistence. Building habits that stick is simpler than you think. Start small, ridiculously small, like writing one sentence or walking 5 minutes. Set a specific time and place, like studying after breakfast. Track your progress. A check mark on a calendar works wonders. Be patient. Habits take time to root. The chapter debunks willpower as the hero. It's overrated and fades fast. Instead, rely on systems. Schedule your workout. Prep your gym bag. Make action automatic. Consistency beats motivation every time. Redefine success as showing up, not perfection. Every day you act, you're building momentum that snowballs into something extraordinary. The chapter's core message is clear. The top 1% don't work harder for a moment. They work smarter forever. They commit to daily progress, no matter how small, because they know the secret. Small habits aren't small at all. They're the foundation of greatness. Real-world example, Elena's writing dream. Let's meet Elena, a 29-year-old customer service rep with a secret passion for writing. She'd always dreamed of publishing a novel, but never got past a few pages. "I'll write when I'm inspired," she'd say, starting strong only to fizzle out. Life, work, errands, Netflix always got in the way. One day, a coworker shared a blog about the compound effect, sparking Elena's curiosity. Chapter 3's lessons became her roadmap. Elena started small, 100 words a day, about one paragraph. It felt trivial, but that was the point, no excuses. She set a time, 7 p.m., after dinner, and a place, her kitchen table. She tracked progress in a notebook, marking each day with a star. At first, 100 words took 10 minutes, often clumsy sentences about her fantasy world. But she didn't chase perfection, she chased consistency. On tough days, she'd write anyway, even if it was just a character's name. Her system was simple, a timer on her phone, no Wi-Fi until done. Willpower wasn't needed, habit took over. By month 3, 100 words became 300, then 500. A year later, Elena had a 60,000-word draft. She joined a writing group, got feedback, and kept refining, still writing daily. 2 years after that first paragraph, her novel hit online bookstores, earning modest but growing sales. Elena's not a bestseller yet, but her daily habit turned a dream into reality. Consistency made her unstoppable. Another example, Raj's financial freedom. Now consider Raj, a 34-year-old IT technician drowning in credit card debt. He earned decently but spent impulsively, gadgets, takeout, weekends out. "I'll save when I get a raise," he'd think, but raises never stretched far. A friend's budgeting app inspired him to try Chapter 3's approach. Raj started small, saving $5 a day, the cost of his morning latte. He set a system, auto transfers to a savings account every evening. He tracked progress in a spreadsheet, watching $5 become $150 a month. It felt slow, but Raj trusted the process. To avoid temptation, he packed lunch, cutting another $10 daily. Consistency trumped willpower. No debates, just action. 6 months in, Raj had $1,000 saved. He used it to pay off a card, freeing up interest payments. Excited, he upped his goal, $10 daily, then $20. He read about investing, starting with $50 monthly in a low-cost fund. 3 years later, Raj was debt-free, with a $10,000 emergency fund and growing investments. His habits, saving, learning, tracking, compounded into financial security. Raj's story shows how small, steady choices reshape your future. Chapter 4. The Hidden Power of Focus. If Chapter 3 builds the engine of success, Chapter 4 gives you the steering wheel, focus. In a world engineered to distract, notifications buzzing, emails piling, social media scrolling, your attention is under siege. Chapter 4. The Hidden Power of Focus reveals why focus is your superpower and how to reclaim it. Multitasking? It's a myth. Studies show it slashes productivity by up to 40%, scattering your brain and spiking stress. The average person checks their phone 150 times a day. Each ping pulls you away, and it takes 23 minutes to refocus. No wonder you're busy, but not getting anywhere. The chapter introduces deep work, a state of uninterrupted concentration where your best ideas and results emerge. To get there, eliminate distractions, silence notifications, disable apps, work in a quiet space. Use rituals, like a specific playlist, to signal focus time. Time block your day, dedicating chunks, say 50 minutes, to one task, with short breaks to recharge. The Pomodoro technique, work 50 minutes, rest 10, keeps you sharp. Saying no is critical. Billionaires guard their time fiercely, rejecting low-value meetings or energy-draining people. You should too. Focus isn't just about getting things done. It's about achieving mastery in less time. 1 hour of deep work trumps a day of fragmented effort. The top 1% don't have more hours. They use theirs better, cutting through noise to create breakthroughs. Master focus, and you'll outpace those stuck in distractions trap. Real-world example, Aisha's startup success. Meet Aisha, a 31-year-old graphic designer who wanted to launch a freelance business. She had talent, clients loved her logos, but her days were chaos. Between emails, Instagram, and side gigs, she barely designed. Projects dragged, and her dream of going full-time felt impossible. A mentor suggested Chapter 4's focus strategies, and Aisha decided to try. She tackled multitasking first, realizing she'd been juggling design, emails, and chats simultaneously. She switched to single tasking, dedicating mornings to creating. Distractions were next. She turned off phone notifications, using Do Not Disturb during work hours. She time-blocked 9 to 11 a.m. for design, 11:30 for emails, treating blocks like sacred appointments. A ritual helped. She'd brew tea, play lo-fi music, and close all tabs except her design software. The results stunned her. In one focused hour, she'd finish a logo that once took a day. Deep work let her experiment, crafting bolder designs clients raved about. She said no to low-paying gigs, freeing time for portfolio building. Within 6 months, Aisha had enough steady clients to quit her day job. Her business thrived, not because she was the best designer, but because she mastered focus, turning scattered hours into powerful output. Another example, Carlos's academic turnaround. Then there's Carlos, a 22-year-old college junior struggling with grades. He'd cram for exams, distracted by group chats and YouTube. I work best under pressure, he'd claim, but CS and DS told a different story. A professor's advice led him to Chapter 4. Carlos ditched multitasking, studying one subject at a time. He silenced his phone, using an app to block social media during study blocks. He time-blocked evenings, 7 to 8:30 p.m. for biology, 9 to 10 for math, with 10-minute breaks to stretch. His ritual? A quick walk, then a timer to start. Deep work transformed his notes. Focus sessions helped him connect concepts, not just memorize. Saying no was tough. He skipped some hangouts, but it paid off. In one semester, Carlos raised his GPA from 2.3 to 3.5, earning a scholarship. Focus didn't make him smarter. It made him effective, proving that attention, not time, unlocks potential. Chapter 5. The Secret Weapon of High Achievers, Self-Discipline. Chapter 5 hits you with a truth that cuts through the noise. Motivation is a fickle spark, but self-discipline is the engine that never quits. Motivation might get you out of bed for a day, but it fades when life gets tough, when you're tired, stressed, or just not feeling it. Self-discipline, though, it's what keeps you moving forward no matter what. It's the difference between dreamers who wish and doers who win. The chapter exposes motivation's flaws. It's emotional, fleeting, and unreliable. Waiting for the right moment is a trap. Those moments rarely come. Instead, high achievers rely on discipline, defined as doing what needs doing, even when you don't want to. It's choosing long-term gains over instant gratification, studying instead of scrolling, exercising instead of snoozing, saving instead of splurging. Building discipline is like training a muscle. Start small. Pick one task, like writing for 5 minutes daily, and stick to it. Eliminate excuses with a no negotiation rule. If it's on your plan, it gets done. Reframe discomfort as growth. Every time you push through resistance, you're wiring your brain for success. Celebrate small wins, a finished task, a week of consistency, to reinforce the habit. The chapter warns that discipline's pain is temporary, leading to freedom, while regret's pain, knowing you could have done more, lasts a lifetime. The top 1% aren't born disciplined. They choose it. They override impulses, align actions with goals, and make progress inevitable. This chapter dares you to do the same, promising that discipline isn't just a tool. It's your ticket to dominating any field. Real-world example, Maya's marathon triumph. Meet Maya, a 36-year-old single mom and office clerk who always wanted to run a marathon. She'd start training every January, fueled by New Year's resolutions, but by February, motivation vanished. Work, kids, and exhaustion won out. "I'm just not a runner," she'd sigh. Then a coworker's marathon medal inspired her to try Chapter 5's approach. Maya ditched motivation for discipline. She started small, 10 minutes of jogging daily, even if she walked half of it. She set a rule: no skipping, no excuses. Mornings were hectic, so she ran at 8 p.m., kids asleep, sneakers by the door to eliminate choice. Discomfort was real, sore legs, cold nights, but she reframed it. This is me getting stronger. She tracked runs in a journal, celebrating each week with a small treat, like a coffee. At first, 10 minutes was torture, but discipline kept her going. By month 2, she ran 20 minutes, then 5K. She studied running form, ignoring urges to binge TV instead. 9 months later, Maya crossed a marathon finish line, tears streaming, not because she was the fastest, but because discipline turned not a runner into a champion. Maya's story shows that self-discipline isn't about perfection. It's about showing up every single day. Another example, Tariq's career climb. Now consider Tariq, a 27-year-old junior accountant stuck in a cubicle. He dreamed of becoming a financial analyst, but felt overwhelmed. "I need inspiration," he'd say, waiting for a burst of energy that never came. A mentor's advice led him to Chapter 5. Tariq chose discipline over waiting. He committed to studying one CFA exam topic daily, starting with 15 minutes before breakfast. No negotiations. If he was tired, he'd still read one page. He reframed late-night study as investing in my future, not sacrifice. He tracked progress on a calendar, marking each day with a check, and celebrated monthly with a movie night. Distractions tempted him, friends' texts, gaming marathons, but Tariq stayed firm, silencing his phone during study time. 6 months in, he passed his first CFA level. His discipline impressed his boss, who gave him data projects, boosting his skills. 2 years later, Tariq landed an analyst role, doubling his salary. His success wasn't genius. It was discipline, choosing action over excuses day after day. Chapter 6. Mastering consistency to dominate life. If self-discipline is the engine, consistency is the fuel that keeps it running. Chapter 6. Mastering consistency to dominate life doubles down on why steady effort trumps sporadic bursts. Most people fail because they chase motivation, expect instant results, or quit when progress slows. But success is a marathon, not a sprint. The compound effect, revisited from Chapter 3, shines here. Small actions, done daily, build unstoppable momentum. The chapter outlines why consistency falters. People rely on feelings, lack systems, or aim too big. To master it, ditch motivation for routines. Schedule tasks, like studying at 7 a.m., to remove choice. Use the 2-day rule. Never skip twice to avoid breaking habits. Redefine success as showing up, not outcomes. Building habits is key. Start small, one push-up, tie actions to cues, read after coffee, and track progress, a habit app or notebook. Patience is crucial. Results take time, but they come. Consistency isn't sexy. It's repetitive, quiet, relentless. The top 1% dominate because they don't stop. They write daily, train daily, learn daily, turning effort into mastery. This chapter challenges you to embrace the grind, promising that consistency doesn't just build success, it makes it inevitable. Real-world example, Priya's health transformation. Let's meet Priya, a 42-year-old teacher who struggled with her health. Years of stress eating left her overweight, tired, and self-conscious. She tried diets, keto, fasting, but crashed after a week, blaming lack of willpower. A doctor's warning about diabetes scared her into action, and Chapter SIX's principles became her guide. Priya started small, one healthy meal daily, usually a veggie-packed lunch. She scheduled it, meal prep Sundays at 5 p.m., and tied it to a cue, cooking while listening to podcasts. She tracked meals in a journal, marking each day with a smiley face. The 2-day rule saved her. If she ate pizza one night, she was back to salads the next. Success was cooking, not weight loss, keeping her focused. Motivation faded, but her system didn't. She added 10-minute walks, then 20. No gym, just sneakers and consistency. By month 6, Priya lost 20 pounds, but more. She felt energized, confident. A year later, her blood work was normal, and she hiked with her kids, something she'd avoided for years. Priya's transformation wasn't drastic. It was daily, consistent choices compounding into a new life. Another example, Leo's coding mastery. Then there's Leo, a 24-year-old retail worker who wanted to become a software developer. He'd watch coding tutorials, but never finish, jumping between languages when progress stalled. "I need to feel ready," he'd say. A friend's tech job inspired him to try Chapter SIX's approach. Leo committed to 15 minutes of coding daily, starting with Python basics. He scheduled it, 9 p.m., laptop on his desk, and used a cue, a specific playlist to signal focus. He tracked sessions in an app, aiming never to skip twice. Success was coding, not building apps, so he stayed patient. His system was simple, one tutorial, one small project, no distractions. At first, loops confused him, but consistency clarified them. By month 3, he built a simple game. He joined online forums, coding daily even when stuck. A year later, Leo landed a junior developer role, not because he was a prodigy, but because he coded every day, letting small efforts compound into mastery. Consistency turned his hobby into a career. Chapter 7. The Hidden Formula of the 1%. Chapter 7 pulls back the curtain on what makes the ultra-successful different. It's not just hard work or luck, it's a formula, leverage, logical decisions, and long-term thinking. The top 1% don't grind endlessly. They work smarter, multiplying their results with systems, tools, or teams. They don't let emotions derail them. They decide with cold, clear logic. And they don't chase quick wins. They play the long game, investing in skills or assets that pay off years later. Leverage is about impact, not effort. Instead of doing everything yourself, automate tasks, delegate low-value work, or learn high-demand skills that amplify your output. A freelancer using scheduling software saves hours. A manager training a team scales their influence. Logical decisions mean sidelining fear or ego. Say, choosing a stable job over a risky passion project until you're ready. Data over drama. Long-term thinking is the hardest but most rewarding. It's studying for a degree that opens doors in a decade, not a get-rich-quick scheme. The chapter cites icons like Warren Buffett, who invested early and let time compound his wealth, or J.K. Rowling, who wrote daily for years before Harry Potter's success. The 1% aren't superhuman, they're strategic. The chapter urges you to adopt this formula. Automate one task, make one logical choice, think 5 years ahead. It's not a secret, it's a choice to operate differently. Real-world example, Samir's business pivot. Meet Samir, a 33-year-old restaurant server with a side hustle selling custom t-shirts online. His shop made pocket money, but growth stalled. He was designing, printing, and shipping every order himself, barely breaking even. Frustrated, Samir heard a podcast about Chapter 7's formula and saw a way out. For leverage, Samir stopped doing it all. He partnered with a print-on-demand service, automating production and shipping. This freed hours to focus on marketing. He learned SEO, a high-impact skill, boosting his site's traffic. For logical decisions, he ignored his ego's urge to chase trendy designs and analyze data. Simple logos sold best. He doubled down on those, cutting losses on flops. For long-term thinking, Samir resisted spending profits on a flashy car. Instead, he invested in ads and saved for a branding course. Within a year, his shop's revenue tripled, letting him quit serving. 2 years later, he hired a small team, scaling further. Samir's not a mogul yet, but his formula, leveraging systems, deciding logically, planning long-term, turned a hustle into a business. He chose the 1% path, and it changed everything. Another example, Lynn's career shift. Then there's Lynn, a 29-year-old HR assistant who felt stuck. She wanted to pivot to tech, but feared failing. I'm not cut out for coding, she'd think. A mentor's advice led her to Chapter 7. Lynn used leverage by enrolling in a coding bootcamp with mentorship, not solo tutorials, speeding her learning. She delegated chores to roommates, freeing evenings to study. For logical decisions, she ignored her fear of looking dumb and chose a beginner-friendly language, Python, based on job demand. For long-term thinking, Lynn didn't expect instant mastery. She studied daily, aiming for a junior developer role in 2 years, not 2 months. Her systems paid off. Lynn built a portfolio, landed freelance gigs, and, after 18 months, secured a developer job with double her HR salary. Lynn's shift wasn't luck. It was leveraging resources, deciding rationally, and betting on her future. Chapter 7's formula made her unstoppable. Chapter 8, the unshakable confidence blueprint. Confidence isn't loud swagger or fake bravado. It's quiet self-trust, and Chapter 8 shows you how to build it. The top 1% don't doubt their worth. They act with certainty, commanding respect. But confidence isn't a gift, it's earned. The chapter identifies its enemies, seeking validation, comparing yourself to others, and negative self-talk. These traps shrink you, making you hesitate when you should leap. To build unshakable confidence, start with competence. Master a skill, coding, public speaking, cooking, and your belief grows. The chapter cites Serena Williams, whose relentless practice fueled her swagger. Next, face fears head-on. Each survived rejection or mistake strengthens you. Reframe thoughts. Swap, I'll fail for I'll figure it out. Physical cues matter. Stand tall, make eye contact, speak slowly. These signal confidence to others and trick your brain into feeling it. The chapter emphasizes authenticity. Don't mimic others' confidence. Find yours. Stop seeking approval. Your worth isn't tied to likes or praise. Speak with conviction, own silence, and act despite doubt. Confidence compounds. One bold step leads to another, creating a cycle of courage. The 1% radiate this, not because they're fearless, but because they've built it, brick by brick. Real-world example, Javier's public speaking breakthrough. Meet Javier, a 30-year-old sales rep who froze during presentations. His ideas were solid, but nerves made him mumble, eyes glued to notes. I'm not charismatic, he'd tell himself, comparing his talks to colleagues' TED-style flair. A workshop on Chapter 8 changed his approach. Javier tackled competence first, joining a Toastmasters club to practice weekly. He started small, 2-minute talks, mastering storytelling basics. Each speech built his skill, easing his fear. To face fears, he volunteered for every pitch, even bombing a few. Each flop taught him, stumbling wasn't fatal. He reframed thoughts. I don't need to be perfect. I need to connect. He practiced standing tall, shoulders back, pausing deliberately, cues that projected calm. Validation was his biggest trap. Javier stopped fishing for compliments, focusing on his growth instead. 6 months in, he nailed a company-wide pitch, landing a major client. His confidence wasn't loud. It was steady, earned through skill, courage, and self-trust. Javier's talks now inspire his team, proof that Chapter 8's blueprint works for anyone willing to build it. Another example, Amara's creative leap. Then there's Amara, a 26-year-old graphic designer who felt invisible at work. Her designs were good, but she rarely spoke up, fearing rejection. "They won't like my ideas," her self-talk whispered, fueled by scrolling past better artists online. A friend's nudge led her to Chapter 8. Amara pursued competence, taking an online course in UI/UX design to sharpen her edge. Mastering new tools gave her a spark. She wasn't lesser anymore. To face fears, she pitched a bold app redesign in a meeting, heart racing. It wasn't perfect, but her boss praised her initiative. She reframed doubts. "I'm learning, not failing." She practiced eye contact and clear speech, even in casual chats, building presence. Amara stopped seeking likes on social media, sharing her work for herself. Within a year, she led a major project, her designs earning client raves. Her confidence grew not from applause, but from action, skills honed, fears faced, thoughts rewired. Chapter 8 turned her quiet talent into a voice that mattered. Chapter 9, The Discipline Code. Chapter 9, The Discipline Code, reframes discipline not as punishment, but as freedom, the freedom to shape your life through deliberate choices. It's not about feeling motivated. It's about acting despite boredom, doubt, or fatigue. Motivation is a spark that fades. Discipline is the fire you keep burning. The top 1% don't rely on fleeting inspiration. They follow a code that makes success inevitable. The chapter outlines a system to build discipline. Eliminate decision fatigue, start small, set non-negotiables, and add accountability. Decision fatigue drains you. Choosing when to work out each day wastes energy. Instead, schedule it, like gym at 6 a.m., no debate. Start small with the 5-minute rule. Commit to just 5 minutes of a task, like writing or studying. You'll often keep going. Set non-negotiables, like the never skip twice rule to prevent one slip from becoming a spiral. Accountability, a friend, coach, or public pledge, raises stakes. The chapter suggests rewiring your brain. Link laziness to pain. Say, donating $20 for skipping, an effort to growth. This makes me stronger. Discipline isn't about perfection, it's about progress. The chapter promises that by following this code, you'll turn chaotic effort into a system that delivers results every time. Real-world example, Nadia's fitness revival. Meet Nadia, a 38-year-old nurse who'd let fitness slide. Long shifts and family demands left her drained, 30 pounds heavier than her old self. "I'll start when I'm less busy," she'd say, but busy never ended. A health scare pushed her to try Chapter 9's Discipline Code. Nadia tackled decision fatigue by scheduling workouts, 6 p.m. daily, no choice. She prepped gym clothes the night before, removing excuses. She used the 5-minute rule, committing to just 5 minutes of yoga or weights. Most days, she did 20. Her non-negotiable was simple: never skip 2 days, even if workouts were just stretches on tough shifts. For accountability, she joined a fitness group chat, posting daily check-ins. At first, 5 minutes felt pointless, but Nadia stuck to it. She linked skipping to pain, $5 to a jar for each miss, donated to charity. Effort became growth. "This is me fighting for my health." 6 months in, she was down 15 pounds, stronger, and sleeping better. A year later, Nadia ran a 10K, not because she was naturally fit, but because discipline turned chaos into a system. Her code, schedule, start small, stay accountable, rebuilt her body and confidence. Another example, Arjun's study breakthrough. Then there's Arjun, a 25-year-old grad student failing his master's program. He'd cram last minute, distracted by gaming and social media. "I need to feel ready," he'd claim, but readiness never came. A professor's warning led him to Chapter 9. Arjun eliminated decision fatigue by studying daily at 8 a.m., desk cleared, phone off. He used the 5-minute rule. Read 1 page if he was stuck. It often turned into an hour. His non-negotiable was no 2-day skips, ensuring one bad day didn't derail him. For accountability, he told his roommate his goals, asking for check-ins. Arjun made laziness painful. Missing study meant no gaming that day. He saw effort as growth. "This is me earning my degree." 3 months in, he aced a midterm, shocking himself. By year's end, he graduated with honors, landing a research job. Arjun's turnaround wasn't talent. It was discipline, coded into daily choices: schedule, start, persist, answer to someone. Chapter 10. The Power of Relentless Execution. Ideas are worthless without action, and Chapter 10. The Power of Relentless Execution hammers this home. The top 1% don't just plan, they do, relentlessly. Most people stall, trapped by overlearning, endless research, no action, perfectionism, waiting for ready, or distractions, scrolling instead of starting. Execution cuts through these, turning vision into reality. The chapter offers a playbook. Prioritize ruthlessly, never miss a day, time block deep work, start with 2 minutes, and win mornings. Ruthless prioritizing means focusing on the 20% of tasks yielding 80% of results. Say, one key project over busy work. Never missing a day builds momentum. Consistency trumps intensity. Time blocking, dedicating hours to one task, distractions off, creates breakthroughs. The 2-minute rule beats procrastination. Start tiny, like one sentence, and you'll keep going. Winning mornings, exercise, planning, early focus sets your day's tone. Execution isn't thinking, it's doing. The chapter promises that relentless action, even imperfect, outpaces hesitation every time. The 1% dominate because they start, adjust, and never stop. Real-world example, Chloe's art career. Meet Chloe, a 27-year-old barista who dreamed of being an illustrator. She sketched beautifully but never shared her work, paralyzed by perfectionism. It's not good enough, she'd think, tweaking endlessly. A gallery rejection stung, but Chapter 10's execution mindset inspired her. Chloe prioritized ruthlessly, focusing on one portfolio piece weekly, not scattered doodles. She vowed never to miss a day, even 5-minute sketches counted. She time-blocked evenings, 7 to 9 p.m., phone silenced, for deep work on illustrations. The 2-minute rule helped. Start with one line if stuck. It always grew. She won mornings with coffee and planning, sketching ideas before shifts. Perfectionism faded as she posted daily online, flaws and all. Feedback sharpened her style. 6 months in, a client hired her for a book cover. A year later, Chloe quit her job, illustrating full-time. Her success wasn't genius. It was execution, prioritizing, persisting, blocking time, starting small, owning mornings. Relentless action turned sketches into a career. Another example, Malik's startup launch. Then there's Malik, a 32-year-old engineer with a tech startup idea, a budgeting app, but no progress. He'd research endlessly, fearing failure. I need more data, he'd say, distracted by emails and news. A friend's launch inspired him to try Chapter 10. Malik prioritized ruthlessly, focusing on a basic app prototype, not fancy features. He committed to never miss a day, coding 30 minutes daily, even buggy code. He time-blocked weekends, 10 a.m. to noon, laptop only, for deep work. The 2-minute rule broke inertia. Write one line of code to start, hours followed. He won mornings with walks and goal setting, coding fresher. Distractions tempted him, but Malik stayed firm, disabling notifications. 3 months in, he had a working app. He launched it, imperfect, gaining 500 users fast. A year later, his startup had funding and 10,000 users. Malik's win wasn't luck, it was execution. Focus, daily action, deep work, small starts, strong mornings. He built, didn't just dream. Chapter 11. The Mental Toughness Blueprint. Chapter 11. The Mental Toughness Blueprint starts with a stark truth. Life will hit you hard. Rejections, failures, doubts, and success belongs to those who keep standing. Mental toughness isn't about being fearless. It's about acting despite fear, pain, or pressure. The top 1%, athletes like Serena Williams, entrepreneurs like Elon Musk, aren't immune to struggle. They're just unbreakable, forged by a mindset that thrives in chaos. The chapter outlines a blueprint. Embrace pain, control your thoughts, seek discomfort, and craft an identity. Embracing pain means seeing hardship as a teacher, not a threat. Every rejection sharpens you. Controlling thought swaps, I can't for I'll find a way, rewiring negativity into solutions. Seeking discomfort, cold showers, public speaking, early mornings, builds resilience. Comfort breeds weakness. Crafting an identity means defining yourself as someone who doesn't quit, like, I'm a finisher, making actions align with belief. Weakness, avoiding struggle, letting emotions rule, crumbling under stress, keeps you stuck. The chapter warns that toughness isn't innate. It's built through deliberate choices. It promises that by following this blueprint, you'll not just survive life's storms, but thrive in them, outlasting those who fold. Real-world example, Amina's career comeback. Meet Amina, a 34-year-old marketing coordinator who faced a crushing blow. She was laid off after a company merger. "I'm not good enough," she spiraled, her confidence shattered. Job rejections piled up, and self-doubt grew. A friend's advice led her to Chapter 11's blueprint. Amina embraced pain, viewing each rejection as feedback, not failure. She analyzed applications, tweaking her resume. To control thoughts, she swapped "I'm unhireable" for "I'm learning to stand out." Sticky notes with "I'll find a way" lined her desk. She sought discomfort, cold calling recruiters despite her fear of stuttering. It was awkward, but each call built grit. She crafted an identity. "I'm a problem solver," repeating it daily, aligning actions, networking, upskilling, with belief. At first, calls led nowhere, but Amina persisted. She took a free marketing course, facing the discomfort of late-night study. 6 months in, a recruiter noticed her hustle, landing her an interview. Amina nailed it, securing a better role than her old one. Her comeback wasn't luck, it was toughness, embracing setbacks, rewiring thoughts, chasing discomfort, becoming a finisher. Chapter 11 rebuilt her mind, then her life. Another example, Diego's debt battle. Then there's Diego, a 29-year-old mechanic drowning in $20,000 of credit card debt. Bills stressed him. He'd snap at family, feeling trapped. "I'm a failure," he'd think, avoiding statements. A budgeting seminar introduced him to Chapter 11. Diego embraced pain, facing his debt head-on, listing every balance despite the shame. He controlled thoughts, shifting "I'm doomed" to "I'm digging out." He wrote "one step at a time" on his toolbox. He sought discomfort, taking a second job delivering food, exhausting but empowering. His identity became "I'm a fighter," pushing him to skip luxuries like new tools. Progress was slow, $500 paid off in month 1, but Diego stayed tough. Discomfort became strength. He negotiated lower interest rates, nerve-wracking but effective. 2 years later, he was debt-free, with savings and calmer nights. Diego's win wasn't magic. It was mental toughness, owning pain, mastering thoughts, embracing hard choices, living as a fighter. Chapter 11 turned his spiral into triumph. Chapter 12, The Relentless Pursuit of Mastery. Chapter 12, The Relentless Pursuit of Mastery, shifts from resilience to obsession. Mastery isn't dabbling or being good enough. It's dominating your craft through relentless improvement. Most people settle for average, coasting once competent. The top 1%, think Yo-Yo Ma or Steve Jobs, never stop. They chase mastery, not for fame, but for the thrill of being their best. The chapter's roadmap is clear. Pick one craft, master fundamentals, innovate, and train daily. Choose one focus, writing, coding, cooking, not everything. Master fundamentals first, perfect grammar before novels, basic chords before symphonies. Innovate only after mastery. Break rules once you know them. Train daily with deliberate practice, targeted, repetitive, feedback-driven. Seek brutal honesty, coaches, peers, metrics, to grow. Never get comfortable. Plateaus are traps. Mastery is lonely, painful, repetitive. It's hours of drills when others party. But it's worth it. The chapter promises that committing to this pursuit sets you apart, not just in skill, but in character. The 1% own their fields because they never settle. They grind, refine, repeat. Real-world example, Zara's baking empire. Meet Zara, a 31-year-old accountant who loved baking but wasn't exceptional. Her cakes were decent, but nothing special. "I'm not a pro," she'd say, baking casually. A friend's wedding cake requests sparked ambition, and Chapter 12's mastery path became her guide. Zara picked one craft: cakes, not cookies or bread. She mastered fundamentals, studying buttercream ratios and sponge textures, practicing piping until her hands ached. She didn't innovate yet. No wild flavors until basics were flawless. She trained daily, baking one element, frosting, layers, each evening, analyzing failures. She sought feedback, asking bakers to critique her work, stinging but vital. At first, her cakes looked amateur, but Zara didn't settle. She watched tutorials, repeated techniques, and ignored shortcuts. 6 months in, her wedding cake wowed guests, earning orders. She innovated, matcha layers, edible gold, once skilled. 2 years later, Zara's bakery had a wait list, her cakes featured in magazines. Her empire wasn't talent, it was mastery. One focus, fundamentals first, daily grind, honest feedback. Chapter 12 turned her hobby into dominance. Another example, Kofi's guitar journey. Then there's Kofi, a 26-year-old delivery driver who played guitar for fun. He'd strum covers, but gigs embarrassed him, missed chords, shaky rhythm. I'm not a musician, he'd think. A local band's performance inspired him to try Chapter 12. Kofi picked one craft, acoustic guitar, not bass or drums. He mastered fundamentals, drilling scales and strumming patterns, hours daily, fingers calloused. Innovation waited. He didn't write songs until chords were second nature. He trained daily, practicing deliberately, slow tempos, metronome ticks, recording to spot flaws. He begged a guitarist friend for feedback, wincing at critiques, but adjusting. Progress was grueling, weeks on one riff, but Kofi persisted. Comfort tempted him, but he pushed harder, learning fingerpicking. A year in, he played a flawless open mic, earning cheers. 2 years later, Kofi gigged regularly, his originals streaming online. His rise wasn't genius, it was mastery. One focus, basics down, relentless practice, brutal honesty. Chapter 12 made him a musician. Chapter 13, The 1% Rule. Chapter 13, The 1% Rule, flips the script on transformation. Big goals, like writing a book, getting fit, or mastering a skill, can feel overwhelming, paralyzing you before you start. But the top 1% know a secret. Massive change comes from tiny, daily improvements. The 1% rule is simple. Get 1% better every day. Read 1 page, write 50 words, run 1 minute more. It sounds small, but it compounds. In a year, 1% daily growth doesn't make you twice as good. It makes you 37 times better. The chapter lays out a plan. Pick one area, set tiny actions, track consistency, and level up gradually. Focus on one goal, say, public speaking, not 10. Break it into micro steps, like practicing 1 sentence daily. Track progress, a notebook, app, or checkmark, to stay accountable. Don't rush. Let small wins build before adding more, like moving from 1 sentence to 1 paragraph. Forget shortcuts or perfection. The power is in persistence. The chapter cites compounding in action. Warren Buffett's wealth grew from small, steady investments. Michael Phelps' swimming dominance came from daily drills. The 1% rule isn't flashy. It's quiet, patient, relentless. The chapter promises that by embracing it, you'll outgrow those chasing quick fixes, building a life of exponential progress. Real-world example, Priya's language journey. Meet Priya, a 30-year-old customer support agent who dreamed of learning Spanish to travel and connect with her heritage. She'd tried apps, but grand plans, hours of study, fluent conversations, fizzled fast. I'm too busy, she'd sigh discouraged. A coworker's fluency inspired her to try Chapter 13's 1% rule. Priya picked one area, conversational Spanish, not grammar tomes. Her tiny action was learning 1 phrase daily, like, ¿Cómo estás? 5 minutes max. She tracked consistency in a pocket notebook, marking each day with a star. Success was practicing, not perfection, so she didn't stress mispronunciations. She leveled up gradually, adding a second phrase after a month, then simple dialogues. At first, 1 phrase felt trivial, but Priya trusted the process. She'd whisper phrases during breaks, compounding daily. By month 3, she knew 90 phrases, stringing them into chats with a language app. 6 months in, she joined a local Spanish club, stumbling but improving. A year later, Priya traveled to Mexico, holding basic conversations with locals, her confidence soaring. Her fluency wasn't instant. It was 1% daily, 1 phrase, 1 star, 1 step. Chapter 13 turned her dream into reality. Another example, Ethan's fitness reset. Then there's Ethan, a 41-year-old dad and IT manager who'd let fitness lapse. Desk life added 40 pounds, He felt sluggish, avoiding mirrors. I need a big plan, he'd think. But gym marathons burned him out. A health app streak feature led him to chapter 13. Ethan picked one area: strength, not cardio or diet fads. His tiny action was one push-up daily, literally one, no pressure. He tracked consistency on his phone, logging each push-up with a check. He leveled up gradually, adding 1 rep weekly, then squats, keeping it simple. One push-up seemed laughable, but Ethan stuck to it, often in his pajamas. By week 10, he did 10 push-ups, then 20. He added dumbbells, 5 minutes daily. 6 months in, he joined a gym, lifting with ease. A year later, Ethan was 20 pounds lighter, benching his body weight, energy transformed. His reset wasn't drastic. It was 1% daily, 1 rep, 1 check, 1 gain. Chapter 13 rebuilt his body, one small choice at a time. Chapter 14, The Ultimate Competitive Edge. Chapter 14, The Ultimate Competitive Edge, is the book's grand finale, a call to never stop growing. Reaching the top is one thing, staying there is another. Complacency kills, athletes fade, businesses flop, creators vanish because they rest on past wins. The top 1% don't. They're forever students, always learning, always adapting. This edge isn't a skill, it's a lifestyle. The chapter offers a blueprint. Stay curious, seek mentors, embrace discomfort, and maintain ruthless discipline. Curiosity keeps you asking why and what's next, like a kid exploring. Mentors, books, coaches, peers shortcut your growth, offering wisdom you'd miss alone. Discomfort, new challenges, tough feedback, fuels progress. Comfort is stagnation. Discipline ties it together. Daily routines, the 80-20 rule, focus on high-impact tasks, mental toughness, and reflection. Ask daily, who am I becoming? The chapter warns that the world rewards those who evolve and punishes those who coast. It cites Oprah, who reads constantly, or Kobe Bryant, who studied film at dawn. The edge is lifelong learning, not a finish line. The promise? Live this way, and you'll not just stay ahead, you'll redefine what's possible. Real-world example, Layla's leadership rise. Meet Layla, a 35-year-old team lead at a tech firm. Good, but not great. Her team hit targets, but she felt stuck. Peers were promoted, not her. I've done enough, she'd think, coasting on old skills. A demotion scare woke her up, and Chapter 14's edge became her lifeline. Layla stayed curious, asking why her team lagged. Surveys revealed poor communication. She sought mentors, joining a leadership course and shadowing a top manager, soaking up feedback. She embraced discomfort, pitching bold ideas in meetings, risking rejection, but learning each time. Her discipline was fierce. Daily reflection at 9 p.m., reading one leadership article, applying the 80-20 rule, focus on team morale, not emails. At first, changes were small, better meetings, happier staff, but they compounded. 6 months in, her team's output soared, earning her a promotion to director. A year later, Layla mentored others, her curiosity and grit infectious. Her rise wasn't talent, it was the edge, questioning, learning, risking, persisting. Chapter 14 turned her plateau into a peak. Another example, Omar's creative pivot. Then there's Omar, a 28-year-old photographer whose gigs dried up. Instagram trends shifted, his style felt dated. I'm out of ideas, he'd groan, tempted to quit. A rival's viral shoot inspired him to try Chapter 14. Omar stayed curious, studying why new styles popped, lighting, angles, stories. He sought mentors, emailing a trending photographer for tips, devouring her advice. He embraced discomfort, shooting experimental portraits for free, failing but refining. His discipline shone, daily edits at 7 a.m., one new technique weekly, reflecting on what's my edge. Authenticity, he decided. Failures stung, blurry shots, no likes, but Omar kept learning. 3 months in, a client loved his bold portrait, sharing it widely. A year later, Omar's bookings tripled, his work in galleries. His pivot wasn't luck, it was the edge, curiosity, mentorship, discomfort, routine. Chapter 14 made him not just relevant, but remarkable. Conclusion, your choice to be unstoppable. As we close, reflect on this. You now hold the tools of the 1%. Lifelong learning, disciplined habits, focused execution, mental toughness, and relentless improvement. But knowledge isn't enough. Most will hear this and return to old patterns. Will you? The world doesn't reward excuses, it rewards results. Start today, read 10 pages, act for 5 minutes, improve by 1%. Every choice compounds, shaping who you become. Choose to be the rare few who don't just dream, but dominate. The greatest never stop, neither should you. Now, go become unstoppable. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and please remember to subscribe to receive notification of upcoming recordings. See you in next video.